Hey everybody, this is a quick start guide to this weather program. I usually spend a lot of time explaining it and I kind of don't want to do that over a video. I think that, I think it's since this is the winter session, you're just going to get kind of a quick guide to changing this weather application and making it yours. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you can understand it. And if you are interested in more information about it, I have in the notes, I've got like a longer video from previous years you can look in here. So that's that. So hope you enjoy it. Hope it makes sense. It is the beginning of Unit 4. Weeks 12 through 16. I left this in here on purpose. This is usually do you feel like you've been programming for 12 weeks? I don't know. You've been programming for 3 weeks. So, congratulations on getting this far. And in the class, we do this in week 12 of the class. And I wanted to tell, I've told a couple of people in this class already, it did not take me 16 weeks to learn how to code. It certainly didn't take me 4 weeks. And it didn't take me 4 years either of, going through strict computer science classes. It took a long time. It takes a long time to learn how to code. It's like learning another language. So congratulations on all you've done so far here. And let's get started. So today is day one of Unit 4, and we're going to make a weather data scraping program, which means that we're going to use the internet to get us some weather information, and then we're going to display it on our program. And the classic example of something really cool that does this is like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the umbrella with the light up handle. You know how an umbrella has a handle? So imagine this. The umbrella's handle has a light in it, right? Has a light in it, and it lights up if it's going to rain outside. So you have your umbrella sitting near the door as you're getting ready to leave your where you stay, and your umbrella is lit up, and then you realize, oh, I got to grab my umbrella because it's going to rain outside. So somebody made a project like that. I think they even sell them. So after today, you'll know how to do that, or part of it anyway. So the examples here, so we're going to be doing this thing called parsing JSON, and JSON is JavaScript object notation, and it sounds really scary, but it's really cool and easy. Let's take a look at some student examples, shall we? And then we can look at what the assignment is. So here's a classic example. So it's kind of small, but it says here, what is the weather in Aurora? Wind speed is 8.22. The temperature is 28 degrees, humidity is 82%, and it's hazy outside in Aurora. Now, the background picture does not match that, but it's probably a picture of Aurora. And there is this cloud. This is something we did in class. We made a white oval going across the screen, and that is going across the screen kind of depending on the wind speed. So if it was windier in Aurora, that cloud would be going faster. I don't think that this is a finished looking project. It's almost finished, but it could look better. Here is another one. This one is really arty. So a student is a graphic designer, chose Seattle, and it's a state machine too, so I'm going to click on it. And it has no text in it at all. It's just kind of like an art project. I see this black flag flapping. I think, well, from what I remember, and it might be in the comments in here, but I think the flag is flapping depending on the wind speed in Seattle. The black might mean that it's cold out, might have some significance of the color of the flag. And then if I click again, I get this, and I remember that this had some significance also. This means it's cold. It might be colder because it's got 3 ice cubes there, and I think it's cloudy in Seattle right now. I think this is what the weather data is telling us, and I think the student just kind of made an artistic representation and drew this, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's a great way. It's a great solution for this project. I think it's wonderful. Here's another one that a student did. So my instructions say to change the background of what we build. So this student put a weatherman in the background. There's that oval, yeah, white oval again that we did in class, but the student didn't have time to change it. And here's the text too. What is the weather in Washington? It's 5.99 wind speed, temperature's 27, humidity's 90%, and it's clear outside. So that's nice. So let's take a look at another. This one, this student is from Siberia actually, and she likes to explain to us about her culture and her hometown, her homeland. So it's telling us right here that the temperature right now in Siberia is 52 below zero Fahrenheit. And this is a type of traditional footwear made from deer or cowhide. So it's time to wear that now. And it's the humidity is 63% and the wind speed is 2.24. So when it's warmer in Siberia, it'll probably say something different here if I click on it and it's warmer. But right now it appears to be winter in Siberia. Here's another one. So this one is Naperville, and I don't understand. I'm not really exactly sure why there is that weird bird going across, but it says the bird tells the world how fast we are. Um, so the student is kind of funny, has humor. So that's nice. It's 29 degrees in Naperville, and let's see what else I've got here. Got one other example here is another Seattle example. The wind speed is 8 miles per hour, and the temperature is 45 degrees, so it feels like it's 40 degrees. And this is a little thermometer. This is cool that this student implemented this thermometer. So that's nice. But then again, we've got that cloud. So those are the examples that I can show you right now. This is usually the end of the unit, so people don't have a lot of time to do this project. And in the ones that I showed you were all worth 5 points. Yours is going to be worth more because we're going to have less assignments for this unit than these other students had. So this is the assignment here. Modify the code that we're going to use in class so it prints out 3 weather data. So we're going to do that together. And then it says to use a different font than the default. You're going to have to do that by yourself. Choose a different city than the example. I'll show you how to do that. And put an image in the back and change the size of the program and make the program look good and professional. So this is where I'm saying if you have that cloud going across the screen, maybe use 3 ovals and do some sort of opacity or something for it so it looks more like a cool cloud, okay? Or make a couple of clouds. And put your URL in the assignment called weather, okay, which is this assignment. Hooray. So let's get started. To prepare for this assignment, you are going to have to get an app ID key from Open Weather Map. So you're going to click on this Open Weather Map, and you need to have your own special app ID, application ID. So you're going to sign in. You're going to have to go to create an account. Mine, I already have an account, so mine is asking me to sign in. But when you create an account, it will send you a confirmation email, and what's going to happen is you're going to get API keys, and API stands for Application Programming Interface. All services. There are tons and tons of application APIs. There's a Facebook API. There's a Google API. There's a probably a TikTok API. There's a Twitter API. And the API is something that allows you to communicate with the engine of that service. So it's really neat. So this special huge number here that I have a couple of them, allows me to scrape the weather using this service, using Open Weather. And so when you sign up for this, you'll get your own API key. It'll look like this, thousands and thousands of numbers and stuff. You'll get this, and it will probably go into your spam folder. So after you log in and you sign up, and it's free, look in your spam folder for a login information, and then you'll be able to log in and you'll get this key, and you're going to need this key in a couple of minutes. So meanwhile, while you're waiting now, you can look at this crazy URL. So this is calling Open Weather Map, and it's returning weather to me. So I'm going to click on it. It looks really scary, I know. But if you click on it, you should get, and you may need, in order to read this the way I'm reading it, you may need to get a what's called a JSON viewer. I'm going to write that in here. You may need a JSON viewer. So if you need a JSON viewer, if I tell you something like that, as one of my students, you go, oh my goodness, what's a JSON viewer? And you just click on this. Download JSON viewer. I spelled viewer wrong, but it's giving, so I can click on that and you can get, you can add a JSON viewer. So back to where I clicked on here. I got this, and so look at this. This is what came back when I put this URL in here. Just like you put in Google or something like that, I put this URL and it gave me all this information. And look at it's telling me it's cloudy here. Where am I looking at? In fact, like if I look down here, it's telling me I looked for the information of the weather in Champaign, Illinois, and it's returned all this to me. So if I can put this into a variable in my program, and then what's called parse through and get this what's in these little strings here, then I can use that in my program, and that's what we're going to do. So look at, here's the wind speed, here's the pressure and stuff like that. So I'm going to get this information coming out of here in what, your load commands, load image, load font, there's going to be load JSON. And I'm going to get this all, stick it in a variable, and I'm going to show you how to get this information out and put it into its own separate variables. But before I do that, let's take a look and see if you can do this. So grab this URL here and see if you can change it to get the weather in normal. So how will you do that? Take a look really closely here. This is a whole bunch of stuff. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Wait a minute. Q equals Champaign, Illinois. See that right there? If you change that in your query, and Q means query, if you change that to normal, you're going to get the normal Illinois weather. So I'll do this with you. So I'm going to copy this. That's Command C, and I'm just going to go to a new tab and I'm going to paste it in there. Let's see. So I got the Champaign weather again, and then look at right here. If you change this, you got to be careful. Don't get rid of the comma there. If I change it to normal, I'm going to get the weather in normal, which is not that much different. But look at the bottom here, it says name normal. So isn't that cool? So you can also use a zip code too, but like let's change this. So go ahead and change this to a different city, a city that you're from, and then see at the bottom that it says, see if it says that city, and you'll see it's different. Like, you know what I'm going to change this to? I'm going to change it to Sarasota, Florida, and see if the weather is different there. So Sarasota, comma, FL. Don't put any spaces. So let's see there. So here it's telling me, oh, the temperature is 70 degrees. So it's definitely giving me different information. So in order to get that to work, you may need to get a JSON viewer. So moving on, this is a query for getting the weather from normal. We're going to have that in our code. Also, instead of using Q equals the city name, you can also use a zip code. Okay, and you can see what else is in this whole long URL now. There's an ampersand, which is so these are different parameters that we're sending to the command here. So one is a zip code, another one is units. So it says units imperial, and that's the opposite of Celsius. So I think if you took this out or you wrote Celsius here, you'd get Celsius temperature. Now this is the other thing that's really important. You see where it says app ID? Remember when I was telling you a minute ago that you're going to need your own app ID? You're going to have your app ID instead of mine. Okay, and so using this API, we're going to build something that returns data. And if this is kind of cool idea to you, here this Open Weather Map app is like an API is one of like thousands of other APIs. You can click on this, and you can see in here there's a giant list of APIs. So where is it? This is public APIs. Yeah, look at so there are APIs that deal with animals, anime, art and design. I'm just going to go through blockchain. There's going to be game ones. We'll click on those: science and math, sport and fitness, geocoding. Here, I'll click on games and comics. So you can see all of these are different ways of putting a URL in and getting information back. So I remember that there's a you, you can find you can look through here if you want to spend some time. Fortnite API, Halo API, and so some of them are very easy to use and others are really hard. So there's a joke API. Let's see what this one is. Programming miscellaneous jokes. So there's a joke API. So some of them will give you a URL just like the one that, yeah, here, like this. Some of them will give you a URL and it'll just generate a joke back for you. So I don't think I'm going to click on those because it looks like some of them might be dark jokes. So anyway, that's something you can explore. Here it says you might want to use one of these for your MP4, but we're not doing MP4. Winter session has no MP4. We're just going to be doing 3 assignments. So it may be time. You may have already gotten your API key. Hopefully you already got it. If not, just follow along with this anyway. And we're going to start with this code here. So click on this and let's get started. So like when I first give you code, what do you always do? You always run it. Let's take a look. Oh, look at that. So we're already getting the weather from normal. You're going to have to change that. The wind speed is already printed out, but we're going to add some other things in here. So let's get started building our code. Okay, so let's take a look. This is the code. So we've got some variables up here. We're not going to mess with them yet, and you need your own API. We've got some variables here. We're not going to mess with them yet. Here's what we are going to do is build this string. So you remember the crazy string that we saw? Here is what you're going to change. Don't change it just yet. The first thing that we're going to change and make sure it works is we're going to put your ID in here. So the way that we call this weather is we're going to build this string, and the string's going to be this area, and then it's going to be this area. We're going to add these two things together, this first part of the string and app ID and then your ID. So what you are going to need to change here is this. You're going to have to put your ID in there instead of mine. So what I would suggest that you do is you run it again first to make sure that mine works. And then I suggest that you comment, like copy this line, paste it so you have a second version of it, and then comment mine out because we know mine works. Make sure that it works still. And if it doesn't, maybe text me or wait a little while. Sometimes it takes up to about 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I've had students have to wait for like a half an hour. You have to get your email first probably, and a lot of times the API key appears in there too. Okay? So once you get this working with your API key, your app ID, then we can move on. You can move on. So what you're going to do next is change this to somewhere other than Normal, Illinois. So I'm going to change mine to Sarasota, Florida, because I wish I was there. Then you can make sure that that works. Okay, and then look at it, says what is the weather in Sarasota. So let me explain to you how the rest of this code works. So you can go down to here. This is the setup, okay, that runs once. And what's doing all the work here is this load JSON command. So remember how we had load image and we had load font? Now you have load JSON. And this is using this string that we made, just like we were looking at earlier. And it's calling to that string. And this is called a callback function. And this happens. So when we call to Open Weather Map is busy helping other people too. So we send out this load JSON command, and then it just sits, we go on with our business of our code. And when that information comes back, it's going to run this function. So right here, function got data will run when the code comes back. So meanwhile, we're going to go, after you're set up, you're going to go straight to the draw like all of our other programs do. And we're going to be in state 0, and we're just going to kind of loop here until we get weather back. So we're doing nothing until weather comes. When weather comes, we're going to go to here, and we're going to run this, and this is the code that you're going to change. Right here, let's go in here, And we need to look and see what information we're getting, because we're supposed to put, the assignment says to put three pieces of information on the screen, right? We already chose a different city name, so that's good. And we made sure the new city name displayed to the screen, so that's cool. So three weather data using a different font than the default. So let's go back. Let's go back here. Uh, so what data do we have? Right now we have the name of the city, so that's nice. We have the wind speed already, so that's cool. But we're going to have to get some other information out of this. So let's see what information we have. Here is printing out all the information. I have inside the got data function that runs when the data comes back. I've got a weather, like printing everything that came back. And then I'm setting a variable wind speed. So let's take a look and see what other information we got. Here we've got something called weather, and we've got a description. That might be a nice thing to print out in your information here. We've got the wind speed here. We've got inside this main area, there's the temperature, and I think we want to print out the temperature. We definitely want that. So here is how you're going to do that. So we've decided we want to print out the temperature and maybe the description and maybe the humidity. So I'll do humidity for you, and you'll have to figure out how to do the other ones, temperature and stuff. So when I decide I want to do humidity, and look at temperatures in this same area here, I'm going to add a variable called humidity. So all the way up here, let humidity, I'll set it equal to 0. You're going to also have to do let temperature there. So, and maybe something else too, visibility or something like that. Maybe what other information do we have? Pressure. Yeah, you're going to have to decide what you're going to have there. So this is how you add this though. So humidity there, and then go to the function got data, and this is your new variable, humidity. Now, how are we going to get this humidity out of this JSON? The way we're going to do it is you take a look and see which area your variable is coming out of. So this whole thing is called weather. This area in here, this section is called main, and then humidity is there. Since I'm in section main, I've got to type this weather.main.humidity. I have to spell it exactly right. So this is called, so if I wanted the temperature, I would do weather.main.temp. That will get me the temperature. But right now I'm doing weather.main.humidity. This has got to go here. And then in here, we're going to add that. So we added a variable called humidity. We did this. Let's go down here. And right here, we will add a line like we have text wind speed equals wind speed. We'll have humidity is, and then we'll call it humidity. Remember, this is the X location and this is the Y location. So if I run this now, it's going to be on top. So I got to change that to 60 here. Like put it down 20. There we go. There's humidity. So this is great. So I would suggest you put the weather or the temperature, or you can take a look and see what other information you're getting out of here. If you decide to use, most of the information is in this main area here. So if you can use temperature out of here, there is also the description area is under weather, right? And it's actually, this is actually more complicated. So if you want to add description, you're going to have to add, you'll have to do this because you can have more than one description. The way to parse this is description equals, and I'll put the description up here, let disc equals, it's a string. So to do the description, you will have to have, it'll say weather dot, and then we've got another weather here, weather and then 0, because it's an array. You see that's an array and it only has one thing in it. And then you'll have dot description there. So now down here I will have to add a description too. And then here will be dusk. I think I called it dusk. I better change this to 80. Description clear sky. So that's three different informations right there. I've given you wind speed, so you have to add one more. So good luck with this. And my follow along notes here from previous years, you can take a look at that if you want. And the information is what you need to turn in is modify the code so it prints out three different weather data to the screen. Choose a different city, put an image in the background, and if you use the cloud or something else going across, make sure it looks good. If you want to take the cloud out because you're not sure how to make a second, a second ellipse near it, then this is the ellipse here. So I would comment this out. When you want to put a picture back there, I would put the picture here after background. That's where I would put the image. Okay, don't put it before background because then the background will kill it. Good luck with this. I can't wait to see what you come up with.